Hi, Ann Cornick from Paint and Porcelain Exchange and Paint and Porcelain. We're doing them together now as a live. I'm here to teach beginners how to get started in China painting and encourage those of you experts out there to paint along with us and give us, help us with any questions that come up and that kind of thing. Today we're going to be working on the second fire on our snowman. Okay, so this is the way that my snowman came out. So here is my snowman first fire. Doesn't look like much, does it? And this is what we're aiming for, and this will happen hopefully most of it except for the enamel this time. Alrighty. I went to Dick Blick, and you can get this sandpaper. It's STAEDTLER, sandpaper. You could probably order it online, but you don't have to. It's 5 little sheets. They come on like a little paddle. See that? And what you do is you take your stub, you peel it down. See how I've got right there? See how I've got the paper down there? You peel it down about that far from where you are, and then you go one way on the stub, either up or down. And I say go up because you get more resistance, and you keep turning it as you do that, and you will get a new point on it. Now, if yours are like mine were, it took me quite a while to get to this point and get things clean again. So do it after every time that you use it. You can use 100 grit sandpaper. It can be a block. It can be anything like that. So whatever you want to use, but you can get something to clean it. Now, if you're only using that, they're also called blenders, these stubs are. If you're using it with colored pencils, you can use a gummy eraser to clean it, I understand, but I tried with the China paints, and of course it doesn't work because we have oil in our paints. And we are going to be using a couple of things. We're going to be using luster. We're going to be using metallics. This is the luster. It's a light blue luster. And this is the metallic up here. And if you're wondering where to get those, the lusters you can get from Nancy Bergman at Bergman Lusters. The metallics I finally found on a painter's collection. That's Jody Van Dyke's site. And it's a painter's collection, all one word.com, and they have metallics. So if that's something that you want to duplicate, you can do that. Alrighty, I'm going to tilt you down and we're going to get started. I'm going to start by doing the background on him. I think that's the most important part of it. And I'm going to do that by using my number 10 brush. I had to move things around this morning, so I can't even find my number 10 brush. Here we go. And I'm just going to clean it up. And I have my paints labeled. So these are the paint colors we're going to be using. I have F in front of my Imperial Jade because it has flux in it. There's an F in front of my dark blue because it has flux in it. Then I have yellow, brown, carnation. This is a blue. It can be baby blue, any blue you want. This is a green. It can be any kind of green you want. Moss is what I use. We won't need it this time. I think we're done with the greens. There's a brown here. Black, which is best black, and I have an extra red only because I was using this palette for something else. So I'm going to start with the fluxed dark blue. And you know, I'm going to have to flip this and pick it up and flip it. And the reason is because it does become, because it has the flux in it, it seems like it becomes kind of gummy. So I always just take and turn it over with my brush, and it seems like it helps more. Now in this case, we can put the fluxed blue on as dark as we want, and we can really get a dark sky if we want. This is a different color dark than I used on my other color and on my other plate, and so I really like it. It comes out very dark. If you go over things with the blue, don't worry, you can just wipe it off, right? And we're just going to pull, pull, pull. Now, last time you remember we patted this with a sponge, and this time we don't want to because it'll take the luster off and not make it as bright. So what I would encourage you to do on this time is to try to keep your strokes very smooth, and the luster should help you do that. Now, you can go right over everything, and that's the reason we're doing this first is because we don't want to, and you're going to need oil because this flux kind of drags. So you're going to need oil, and you're just going to put it on and try to keep it nice and smooth. And go over anything you need to go over because it really doesn't matter at this point. You can wipe it off. Okay, now there's nothing to putting this on the background. I'm sure you've all seen this before. But remember, flux will give you a little extra blue. It'll give you a little extra shine. Now, what is flux? For those of you that haven't been here before, let me explain. It comes, you can buy it. I got this from Mary Ashcroft, and it's a powder, a white powder. Isn't everything that we have a white powder? I swear. Most everything we own is a white powder. And you mix it in with your paint at a ratio of 1/3 of the flux to 2/3 of your paint. And it will give you a considerable amount of shine. You can put it on more than one layer, like you could put it on 2 or 3 layers. It's up to you. It really doesn't matter. I think I'm just going to go over these. This thing has these lips on the side, like this, see right there? And they are just driving me crazy. On the last one, they really created a problem when I tried to put luster on them. So this time okay, so I'm putting the color on, trying to get it on everywhere I want it. And up along the top, I'm trying to get rid of having any kind of, I want a clean border. I don't want all this gobbledygook that this tea tile has on it. So I'm trying to go over a lot of that stuff there. Okay. More oil. And I would say do it as dark as you want to do it. If you don't want it this dark, you can lighten it up. That's fine. You can make it a daylight thing, but we're going to have to save a spot for the moon over on this side. So I almost forgot about that. So we will have to put the moon in over on that side. There we go. I know it looks pretty patchy right now. I'm going to smooth it in a minute. Okay. There we go. And I'll get some more here. I have a lot of this dark blue mixed up because I really, really like it. And it does a nice job, and it gives you a pretty background. And I'm really big on bright colors. I like the bright colors. So, okay, now I'm starting to get into the smoothing part. You go one direction. Oh, I need a little more dark here. There, whoops. There. You go one direction, and then you go the other, and you try to keep it really, really smooth. Now with the sky, of course, the sky kind of goes from left to right, or right to left, wherever you live. And so doing that will kind of make it look more like sky, so it shouldn't be a problem. But if you have some real lumpy stuff that you want to get rid of, just go back in the other direction. And I just keep turning this and kind of playing with it until I get it the way I want it. Now, I do have to put a moon up in here. And it looks like there's kind of a spot here that's lighter. Can you see that right there? That spot there seems to be lighter. So I'm going to take my eraser, or I call this an eraser, but it's not. I'm going to take my sponge and just sort of round it out there. And just try to get up as much as I can. And then I'm going to use my stub. I do like my stub. And just clean it up. Make it a little rounder. It's not quite as round as I'd like it right there. Okay, so I have to put a little dark there because that's kind of, the moon doesn't have a bulge on the side, does it? No, there, okay. And there's a little bulge up here. We'll take care of that too, okay. So, way up on the tip, very high on the tip, and I'm very lightly pulling. Different directions, very lightly pulling. If you're new to China painting, this is called feathering. And it really makes a difference. I think it makes things look a little more smooth. And I need a little dark right in here or I'll hate myself. There we go. Okay. Now I want to make the edges up here of my tea tile nice and smooth, so I'm just using my stub and going around and getting it. Now you can see here, my snowman has a little blue on him. This is why I like the stub. You can get the color off without having to, oops, I was just going to say hit the background, but I guess I did that wrong. Here we go. Okay. And then down here, I want to get it off the snow. I want to get it off these trees. And on this side, the trees. And finally, we're going to do the branches and get them back the way they were. You have to wipe off the stub just like you do an eraser when you're using it. Get the color off if you can. And then here. Okay. Okay, so that's what I have so far. And that's all I'm going to do with him so far. I think my moon on this side needs a little. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to clean my brush real well, and I'm going to go back and do the snow using the Imperial Jade. If you didn't like the Imperial Jade, use the color you liked. You are not locked into this just because I use it. Your snowman can have a green and red scarf. Your snowman can have a blue and white scarf. It can be any way you want it to be because this is your piece, not mine. If you're copying it, that's fine. I don't mind, but make it your own, please. Okay. So I'm going to use Imperial Jade, and if you remember, I have that flux. Now, the only reason I wanted the Imperial Jade is because I was kind of intrigued by the fact that one of the teachers at the teachers group that I belong to recently used it, and I just thought it was kind of neat. And so I'm just trying to, oops, go over that, yeah. I'm just trying to, I don't know, add a little variety to my painting. Not everything has to be the same. And I would usually use like a light blue or a baby blue or something. I'm pulling from the light into the, oops, that didn't work very well. Let me clean my brush a little better. I still have some blue in it. For some reason, that blue really sticks, doesn't it? Okay, and you're just gonna pull from the light into the dark just to pull it across. And then I'm just going to put a little right here and a little right here. And here I pull across again because he's round. Anytime something's round, if you pull across, it seems like it helps add that roundness to it. And then I think up the side because I just want the edge to look similar. So hang on here. I'm doing this here. Like I said, I'm trying to get rid of that frilly edge on here because I really don't care for it. You can put a little bit over here too. I'm going to come down this side and then wipe off my brush and pull it across a little bit, just a little bit there. Okay, done. Now the red I think needs a little touch me up. So I'm going to take find a little brush here. I have this little 1/4 inch black brush I really like. See this? And I'm just going to dip it in my carnation because I love my carnation. See how red it fired this last time? And I really wanted it to fire red, and it did. And I'm just putting it on there so it's nice and dark. I'm a big fan of dark colors You don't have to be, but I am. I need to get this direction, sorry. You remember that we did him with sugar water, and that worked really well for us, I think. And now I'm going to take a little brown, and we're just going to take care of this little bunny. So the bunny is going to have a little brown on this side, and a little brown on this side right here. Just want to give him a little more color than he has, and a little brown on this side, and up here, and a little brown at the base of his head. Okay, that's the bunny. And the little bird, we're just going to put a little brown down here on him and a little brown on this part of his head. Kind of wish I had a yellow. Let me mix a little yellow with that. I think with him I'd like a little more yellow in that brown. There we go. And you see I went outside right here. Just take my stub and clean it up. It's a problem when you make lines like that. You really do have to pay attention to them, and you have to make sure you keep them clean. So that's what I have for them. I'm going to put a little more pink in the bunny's ear. Just it on my tile because I'm using a red and I don't want it to be too pink. There we go. And I want a little pink on his nose. Boom, boom. Okay, so he's done. I don't think my black, except maybe up here, needs, these blacks down here don't need anything. Remember, second coat, you only do what you need to do. You don't do more. And so I'm going to take my number 6 now because I kind of like my number 6. Dip it in the black, side load. Oh, no, I should probably, well, yeah, side load for here because I want to make this dark right here. I know it's a little cartoony, and that's kind of what I want for the look on this. Now, if you want yours to look more, you know, I don't know, more real or something, then you don't have to make your colors quite so dark as I do. But I kind of like the cartoony look to this. There we go. Then I'm going to pull from the middle out. Hang on. Or you know what? Here, I have this one. I'm just going to use that and just there. That's better. Okay. Unfortunately, I got a little bit into the blue back there, so I'm going to have to go back with my blue and just touch it up. Alrighty, got that done. I'm going to take my nub. Where is it? It disappeared. Oh, here he is. And I'm just going to wipe out the hat just to make sure that the hat rim shows up. Okay. And that's what I've got so far. Okay. Now this moon, I'm going to do with metallic. You mix metallics the same way you would anything else. You use whatever your medium is for mixing. I use mineral oil to mix. You can use mineral oil for this. I keep a separate palette, as I've said before, with especially this time of year and Easter, with my metallics on one side and my matte paint on the other, because I use them frequently as I paint this. Now, the metallics look like this. I'll just get one out here. This is a silver. This is what they look like. You can tell they're metallics because they really have a shine to them. And you can get them from a painter's collection, alloneword.com. And Jody Van Dyke still has them in stock. So all you do is you mix it like you would any other paint. You put it down, you put a couple of drops of your mineral oil on it and mix it until it's like toothpaste. And you can see I have a metallic white, or silver rather, right here up in the upper corner. And I'm just going to use that to paint in my moon. So I use my regular, clean my brush the same way I clean anything. You don't need a special brush for metallics. They're very simple to use, and you just paint with them. And I'm just going to paint with it. It won't look like much, but I think it kind of makes it look kind of cool. So you just paint around and around and around. It makes it a little bit shiny. It makes it a little bit special. I'll show you on this other plate. You can see it's a little bit shiny. Where's the moon there? Can you see the little, yeah, see the shine? And I think that that adds a lot to it. Just something a little different that you haven't done before. And I think I need to add just a little more right over on this side. Hang on here. Let me do this. I need to do it right here. There we go. Okay. All right, so now I'm done with that. So now we're going to get into the luster. This is, I'm sure, what everybody's waiting for because luster's so cool. Now, luster is the same as like gold. Gold is a luster, silver is a luster, platinum's a luster. They're all lusters. Closing up my other paints because I don't need them right now. And I have a little dish, small dish with a small end. And I just use that for lusters. So what I do, I keep my lusters in the fridge and I usually take them out a day or two ahead of time so that they aren't getting gunky. I'm going to be using a light blue luster. I had to rewrite the name on this. And you will look, I don't know if you can tell now, but let me turn it this way. You can see it's, oops, here we are. It's gummy. It's an old luster and it's slow. It does run. You can see how it runs, but it's gummy. It has a rubber stopper, and so I'm taking the rubber stopper out. You don't want to take it out before you need it. And I'm just going to put a few drops of this out here. Oh, or not. Okay, got more than a few drops. And I'm going to seal it up again. So there I have it. You see, it's not really moving very well. And I have some stuff in it. I'll get a Q-tip to take that out. See, I have this. I don't know what that is. I'm going to take that out. And I have this. And I don't know what that is. I'm going to take that out. But the rest of it, I'm looking at it now, seems to be fine. There's nothing else in it. So I must have had, I don't know, some crustiness on the top of the bottle or something that came out. There are three things that you can use to thin lusters that I know of. And they are lavender oil. And if you have an aversion to smell, then the lavender oil probably is not for you. You can also use gold essence or a luster extender, or in this case, I have a luster thinner. This is an old one from Ren's, I'm sure. Oops. Let me pull it up that way. Yeah. And I just take and put a couple of drops in. And I have a brush that is dedicated to lusters now. You don't have to have a brush that's dedicated to every luster. From what I understand, if you know how to clean it appropriately, it'll be fine. So, no, that's still too thick. I want it thinner than that. Put a couple more drops in. You want it so it'll move for you. That's all. It needs a little more. This is a very old batch, so I found I had to, there, that's better. See how it's moving now? Oops, there and there. Yeah, it's really very liquidy and moving, and that's what I want. So I'm going to bring my dish up that I'm working on, and you want to keep this platform flat for this. And you're just going to start going around the edges. Now, you can't play with luster very much. Oh. Oops. You can't play with luster very much. So once you get it on, you need to get it on the way you want it. Now, I don't want all these dark pieces here because they will show up as lumps of stuff. So I'm trying to get those out. before it starts to harden up. And it will harden up for you. It'll get sticky, and then you can't move it. You can't really do anything with it. Now, this may not be the preferred way to put it on, but for me it works. And I just kind of keep working until I get it so that it looks like it's all about the same thickness on there. And I'm trying to keep it. I don't have a real steady hand, do I? From getting those globs of brown. Now, the reason it's brown, they all go on the wrong color. They don't go on the color they are. So this is not unusual for luster. And you can't constantly go over luster. Once you put it on, you pretty much have to live with the outcome. You can put a second coat on if that will help even things up for you, but you can't go back and put another first coat on. Okay, right here I have a buildup. There I have a buildup. Ah, shoot, this brush has a, there. Okay, and over here I have a buildup. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Now, I can wait for it to dry, but I think I want to get a little of this off of here. And so what I'm going to do is, here's my luster stuff. I'm just going to put a drop on my tile, dip my Q-tip in it. This is the thinner. Run it around on the inside where I don't want. I think this will work for me. You never know. Up in the dark blue, I really don't care quite so much. Okay. And then I have one spot here where it's already starting to thicken up on me. Where's that little dot I put here? There. I'll just take a little of that. Okay. I just put a little thinner on my brush so that I could put it on a little cleaner. This is my guy. And he's, the orange around the edge, if you just tuned in, is luster. It's a light blue luster. I'm going to let that dry, and it doesn't take long to dry, before I put it in the kiln. And then I'm going to fire it flat. Make sure you fire it flat. I don't know if you need to once it dries, but I tend to, because I don't need any surprises when I take it out and having it run. Pick up those brushes, keep painting, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed the program, and I hope you'll take a minute to subscribe so that other people can learn more about China painting and we can get the word out to more people. You also can look at the links below. My Paintnporcelain.com website has a lot of freebies and printables for new and experienced painters, as well as studies, supplies, and even some of my hand-painted china. So thank you again, and I'll see you next time.